It's hotter than the blazes out, but these deals might just be even hotter. That was corny. Let's move on. I have put my most favorite deals at the beginning and at the end, so if you feel like skipping, skip through the middle.
Gear up and get outside.
Let's start out with one that I just used last week on a river trip. We floated the Snake River, caught all kinds of fish, more on that soon, and we used the Sea to Summit Big River dry bag. This is the newer updated design with the nice grab handles on the sides. So 50% off a like new version right now directly at Sea to Summit. That is a great deal on something that's probably just a returned item or a lightly used best dry bag. Give it a whirl. Here we have from Camp Saver the Big Agnes Camp Kit Duffel Bag. Duffel bags are my favorite, and this will do the trick at 45% off, making it 66 bucks instead of the usual 120. Great deal on what I am sure is a quality duffel bag. The men's Loa Zephyr Gore-Tex mid-hiking boots. So this is a fantastic deal on a tried and true hiking boot if you like the boot. And they are normally 230 bucks, but right now on sale for 138 at Scheels, and plenty of sizes left available for men in this nice salty steel blue color. That reminds me of Zoolander.
Well, I guess the look I'm best known for is blue steel.
What's that look like?
And Zenbivy quilts are all the rage on the YouTube, and I like them too, to be honest. So here you can get a previous year's model on sale at 25% off, which is about as good as it gets with Zenbivy. So not a bad deal at all from Garage Grown Gear. You can get that Zenbivy quilt in a 25 degree, a 10 degree, or even the 40 degree synthetic version. 210 bucks instead of 279 is not a bad deal. And Garage Grown Gear is a cool company, fun to support them. The Flextail Villa Lantern is also on sale for 50% off. It's just a vintage looking camp lantern. I don't know that there's anything particularly special about it except for the vibes and that cozy feeling you'll have inside when you look at it as you sit by your partner in the mosquito-ridden picnic table at your campsite. I'm all about gadgets and good vibes at camp. Not a bad deal for a fun one. Here we've got a boonie hat from Redhead. Lots of mesh, gonna keep you cool, but it'll also keep the sun off your head and neck. $11.77 instead of the usual 20 bucks. That's 41% off. Not a bad deal. Okay, so I mentioned that river trip. We went kayak camping, floating, and fishing, and caught so many fish. I've never caught so many fish in a day in my life. Smallmouth bass primarily, and a couple bonus rainbow trout for me. And boy, howdy, have I got bass fever now. So I'm looking at fishing gear, and here is an Abu Garcia Max X low profile bait caster reel for 50 bucks instead of 75 bucks. Probably not a high-end reel, but a mid-end reel for not a bad price. And you're going to need a rod to put that on. So how about the Abu Garcia Bobby Lane all-purpose rod? That's half off, 100 bucks instead of 200. 7 foot long, medium heavy, 12 to 20 pound rating, extra fast action. I mean, that's perfect for catching them big stinky bass. And I was totes jelly of Jack on that trip, who was fishing a swim bait and catching fish left and right and center. And this little Guggen Bait Saucy Slimmer, which is fun to say, is also going to be fun to fish with. It's on sale for $5 instead of $7 for a pack. I mean, why not? Load your tackle boxes up, folks. Ooh, and then here we've got a different kind of bait. I've never fished with one like this, but it looks like a lot of fun. The Rapala Jigging Wrap. Look at that. You hook right on top. That'd be interesting to see how that goes. This particular color is on sale for 66% off. That gives you a real nice bait like this for only $5.62, very precise. And if you really want to get fancy here on your kayak like I would like to do, then here's a Lawrence HDS Pro 10 fish finder with a transducer, mind you, for 1,500 bucks. I know that's a lot of dollars, but that's less than $2,600, which it normally would cost you. Oh boy, you're going to need some line for that new reel you just bought. So here's some Suffix Nano Braid line. It's almost half off at $10 instead of the usual 19 for 10-pound test. All right, enough of the fishing gear. Let's get into some camping gear. Here we have the Marmot Hydrogen sleeping bag on sale at Camp Saver for 43% off, making it only $229. This looks like a really nice bag. It has 850 fill goose down. That 850 is a high number, which means it's got a lot of loft and warmth for a little bit of weight. It has a little pocket inside for your phone or your light. And then it zips up from the bottom so you can stick your feet out when it's hot. Thank you very much. The Sierra Designs Tabernash 6 tent is also on sale at Camp Saver for 57% off. That makes it only $94 instead of the usual $220. This isn't fancy and it's not lightweight, but it's going to get your family out camping at the campground or the state park. So here we go. It may still be summer, but we do get the thunderstorms and fall is just before us. And here is the Marmot Men's Precip Eco Full Zip Pants. 50% off on Amazon, of all places. These are $60 instead of $120. You know, rain pants are a good idea if you just really want to stay dry or you're going to be somewhere you absolutely know is going to be wet. These would be a good pant to have in the pack. And why not get a decent rain jacket to go with it? Here you have the North Face Alta Vista rain jacket for men at 30% off, making it $98 instead of $140, at least in some select colors and sizes. Get it while it's not hot, my friends. Here's the Sitka Front Range Snap Fleece. I really like the looks of this pullover. I had it in my shopping cart. I have not yet pulled the trigger, but I expect that I will in time. Maybe, maybe not. Probably. I'd like to. I should talk to the wife. Not sure yet, but I like the looks of it. Looks warm. Look at that collar. Look that. Button down. No hood. I like hoods, but not always. This could do the trick. Chest pocket. Check. Thank you very much. 4.7 stars out of 263 ratings. Not bad. Medium. No large left. Extra large and XXL. I think it's just this color left for $69.50 instead of $139 from a fancy brand like Sitka. Why not? Give me some of that. And you might need some gloves here soon too, folks. The Men's King Camo XKG Primaloft Guide Gloves. I think these are made originally for hunting, but I don't see why you couldn't use them for hiking or walking around when it's chilly out for that matter. And $45 instead of $90 for probably a very high quality glove. I at least would like to think so for that much money, but you know, I guess I really don't know. It's on you. Here's the Cabela's roll-up dog bed for $12 instead of $25. I like that. That looks like a good idea. Probably could fit in the kennel or give the dog a spot in the tent. I personally like the idea of an easy up, but I don't have one. You know what I'm talking about. Those pop-up canopies people put on the beach before they get there just to hold their place so that you don't get the prime location. Well, here is one that's going to be much more compact, roll up nice and small for when you're packing around the vehicle because those easy ups are gigantus. Gigantus. Gigantor, gigantic. And this one, though, will collapse down more like a tent. You know, look at that. You can throw it on your back. I like that. Okay, it's $130 instead of the usual $260, and you still got a 10 by 10 foot square, and you can adjust the height and all the good stuff. Sportsman's Warehouse for the win. This would be a fantastic car camping stove. I like it because it looks stainless steel, which always makes you feel just a little bit fancy and like maybe you're a little bit higher up in the socioeconomic column than you actually are. And this is the crossover single burner firebox from Magma. I mean, this would be great for tailgating. This would be great for car camping. It's going to give you a really nice propane-induced strong flame when you're camping. I just like it. I like the idea of it. I like that it's not enormous. Most people are going to be just fine with a single burner when you're camping. So check this out. Half off makes it $120 instead of $240. I wouldn't say that $120 is cheap, but I would say that's probably pretty reasonable. Maybe even on the lower end of what a camp stove costs these days. I'm going to be honest. I've never needed one of these or never thought to have one, but it looks kind of intriguing. I had to look it up elsewhere to understand what I was looking at here, but this is the Rab Superlight Shelter 4 tent. Not really a tent. It's really meant to be an emergency pop-up shelter for when you're high up in the mountains doing things that I don't actually do, like climbing up to top of peaks and exhausting yourself with ropes and all kinds of things. You know, people like that, and that's wonderful. That's not really me, but I think this could be kind of fun to use as a fort in the backyard with the kids. Softcore camping, that's my way to go. Sorry, folks. You got to go somewhere else for the hardcore guys. Here is a fancy belt for a slightly less than fancy price, in my opinion. $19.50 instead of $35. That's 44% off a Fjallraven belt. Fjallraven, I think they're a Swedish company, and they are known for being fancy and expensive. So $20, so I'd pay that much for a good belt. Camp Saver. Here we have a puffy camping blanket from a brand that only exists because of Amazon, Wise Owl Outfitters. But these blankets are all the rage. I'll be honest, I've got one or two like it that we keep in our car just in case. We take to the ball games. We take to camping trips for an extra layer when needed. And this looks like a decent one for $55. 31% off is a decent discount, but nothing to write home about. But that end price is a whole lot less than buying something like a Rumpel. But if puffy and slippery isn't your favorite blanket flavor, then try out this woolly mammoth wool blanket. No, my friends, this is not authentic woolly mammoth wool. I hate to disappoint. They have been missing for quite some time, as I understand it. And it's only 50% wool at that. I do see where it says sheep wool, so I guess we'll trust them on that. Interesting choice of words. But only $25 instead of $40. Here's the Flextail Gear air pump. This is the tiny pump. This is the OG of the little tiny pumps that made pumps popular among backpackers. And it's on sale for $22 instead of its usual $40. Get you some. I have tried a Nature Hike cot, not this exact model, but you know they do the trick. And here too, while that 26% off doesn't look like a gargantuan discount, that $58.88 in price is wonderful for a cot. It's low to the ground, so it's going to work not only in a big, tall tent, but also in a small tent. And I like taking a cot. Okay, if you are going to use that 5-gallon bucket as a toilet for dispersed camping, here is some solution, a pack of powder that does something magical that I don't understand, but I can kind of just show it here and you'll get the idea. I'm sure it's not going to make big blue crystals, however. Do not be deceived, but it will probably make it slightly less smelly and start to help your, shall we say, waste decompose a little faster. Here is from MSR, a tent that is 50% off, $460 instead of $920. That is still a lot of dollars, but this is the MSR Access 3-person 4-season ski touring tent. Oh boy, skiing uphill still doesn't quite make sense to me. I understand it. I even would like to try it. But when I can ski downhill and have a machine take me up the hill, this has been featured on one of our videos in the past, but they must have a million of these things and they're still selling them for $10. A canoe pad from Crazy Creek. Simple little pad that'll strap around canoe seat. That could even supplement a backpacking chair or a lawn chair or a driver's seat or a kayak seat. My buddy John got some of these and they did the trick. So if you need a pad for something, there you go. And here we have a tent from Cabela's, the Cabela's Getaway 4-person dome tent, a simple dome tent for $100 instead of $200. Why not? It gets you out there. It may still be short season, but we are nearing pants season, and here are some Mountain Hardwear hiking pants. They are on sale for 50% off at Scheels, making them $45 instead of $89. I imagine they are synthetic. I imagine they will dry reasonably fast, and I imagine they are reasonably comfortable. But this is all in my imagination because I've never tried them, so I do not know for sure. Try at your own risk. Whether or not you hunt ducks, you ought to have a duck call because I'll tell you what, they're just a lot of fun to have around the house. Nothing gets your kids awake for school better than a quack, 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 quack. Try the Duck Commander Jace Robertson Pro Series Duck Call. And this one is on sale for $46 instead of $77. And you might say, wow, that's a lot of money for a piece of plastic you're going to blow air through. Yes, it is. But I'll tell you what, they get a lot more expensive than that. Whether you hunt or not, pick up one. They're a lot of fun. And here we have from Nemo, the Scalar. I'm not sure how they like to say that. The multi-configuration camp tarp. This is a camo version partnered with First Light. $209 instead of $299.95. So that's a discount. That's going to give you a nice little tarp that you can use as a temporary shelter or an overnight shelter. It would be super light to keep in your bag. And Nemo always makes great quality stuff. So what the heck? It's cool how you can set these up 1,000 different ways too. All kinds of good videos on the interwebs about that. Now we're getting into my final favorite things. This is the Nemo Tracker 2P Osmo Ultralight Backcountry Tent. It's on sale at Scheels for $300 instead of $460. Now that's a pretty good deal, especially in season. This is obviously targeted at hunters, but the Osmo tent from Nemo is very popular even among backpackers. The difference with this tracker one for hunters is not only the little cool hunting vibes with a little bit of camo and a little bit of blaze orange accents, but it also has this snow skirt. So if you do find yourself hiking up mountains and you need to spend the night and then it snows, you've got a snow skirt that's going to help keep the draft out and is also going to help anchor your tent down in gnarly winds. And those snow skirts are highly effective in my experience. Wow. That's pretty cool. The Danner Trail 2650 Campo. This one is on sale for $96 instead of $170, and that is also at Scheels. And lots of sizes available in that. So it's just this color that's on sale for that cheap, but that might be good enough for me to give it a whirl. I have this stove, okay? So hear me out. This is a very simple one-burner butane stove, but it collapses down to a pretty small size, as you see here. It also says fun things on the side, like meet with you in the train to Lhasa. I don't know if I will meet with them, but I wouldn't mind being on a train to Lhasa. That sounds exotic. But we used this on a recent kayak camping trip. It's inexpensive to start at $50, but when it's 40% off, it's only $30. So great little stove, great for car camping, but it'll let you cook whatever you need to cook at camp for a great deal. And check this out. This would be a very nice pack. This is the Mystery Ranch Scree 33 backpack. And they got this bright yellow, that kind of fluorescent color if you want to be highly visible, or that black color, which is also nice too. 47% off, making these $147 instead of $275. That is a very good deal on what is probably a bulletproof pack from Mystery Ranch. They're known for making very rugged stuff. Last but not least, this is the Nemo Pillow. I wax verbose about pillows in camping, and this is one I know and love. I actually have this smaller size that I take backpacking, just a little bit smaller. I think they have 2 or 3 sizes, but this is a fantastic pillow because it is inflatable, which means you can collapse it down really small and compact, but it also has a foam layer on top, and most inflatable pillows do not have that. That makes it very cushy and very soft, so that when that air compresses, it doesn't feel hard, still it feels nice and soft. That's all she wrote, Bob. You can find these and more deals at The Honey Hole, outdoorempire.com/thehoneyhole, and I highly recommend that you sign up for our email newsletter by putting your email address in here or clicking on the link below to do so, because I will send you the top 5 outdoor gear deals every single week. You'll be entered into our weekly gear giveaways, and I think you'll get a little bit of a laugh every once in a while from my sometimes ridiculous anecdotes. See you in September with more deals.